In our last video, we covered creating a value scale with our ebony pencil and blending stump. And that value scale was what I consider just to be our regular value scale from dark to light or light to dark. Now we're gonna go over how to do the advanced option, which is dark to light to dark again. We have a student example on our project page that does that. So I wanna demonstrate that for you. So since I have already done one value scale on my worksheet, I have this extra worksheet here with value scales. I'm going to use this space to do the advanced option. So if you're choosing just to do the advanced option on here, that's fine. But I would encourage you, if you think you're more advanced, to do this option and the advanced option, because the more we create value scales, the better and better we get as artists. So it's always worth to practice more. So since I'm going to be going dark to light to dark again, I'm going to turn my paper. In the last video, we already saw how to use our supplies, right? So we want to use the ebony pencil on its side. I'm starting very dark, so I'm gonna really press hard here and get lighter as I go. And I want you to try and stay inside the lines as much as possible. I know this is just practice, but if I can have nice craftsmanship while I practice, I'm gonna have that skill built up so well that no matter when I'm creating, I'm gonna have nice craftsmanship. So I'm going dark to light and I'm ending really early, right? I'm not even at the middle of my paper yet. I know when I blend that this pencil really moves across the paper when it's applied correctly. So I know that these grays are gonna start to move their way over here. So I'm gonna leave this whole section the white of the paper, and then I can always add more pencil later. So now I've turned my paper and I'm doing the same thing on the other side, dark to light. And I know if I have even layers from the beginning, my blending stump is really gonna smooth things over well. And it's gonna be actually less work for me in the long run. So now I can take my blending stump. I am remembering that this is mine to use, so I'm always in the habit of keeping one edge for the darker values, one edge for the lighter values, and that just makes my blending stumps last longer, and I get less frustrated when I'm working on projects. So I'm gonna start on the darker edge here, and then I'm pressing really light now, and then I'm gonna turn. Here's kind of a cleaner edge. Get that gray. And then I'm gonna turn to the darker side here to start to bring some of that gray over. So I'm looking at what edge of my blending stump I'm using. I'm gonna go back to this darker edge here, and I think this needs to come a little further over to the right. And I'm going different directions because I want this to be pretty smooth overall. All right, now I'm noticing, like, I think this can get darker. I'm gonna add more here, and I think it can blend out a little bit more. All right, I'm starting to get a little bit too gray towards this middle, but I'm gonna leave it and see what I can do with my eraser there later, and maybe it'll actually be okay. All right, next side. Turning my paper to help me with this. Dark to light. All right, so I'm gonna continue to turn my blending stump here. Okay, I'm getting too dark right here, so I'm gonna erase a little bit right away. All right, I'm gonna switch to the lighter edge here of my blending stump. And I'm really pushing hard because I don't wanna put more pencil down in this light space. I wanna use what's already on my paper. That way I don't get those pencil marks. So I'm really trying to fight with the pencil right now to bring it towards the center. All right, now I'm using the darker edge here because I'm noticing some spots look a little bit more uneven. All right, so now I need to start evaluating, okay, what is one side looking versus the other. I'm gonna add more dark pencil to this edge and have it fade out so that I'm really showing those extremes, the extreme dark to the extreme light. As I'm working, where I'm holding the paper is on areas that don't have the ebony pencil. It'll come off on my fingers and I'll get fingerprints. Again, not a big deal for when we're practicing, but you're gonna wanna be in that habit for when you're working on your final project. and my fingers hold oils in them, right? So if I'm blending with my fingers, that can be just fine for certain materials. But with ebony pencils, the oils from your fingers really start to affect your drawing. So that's why we have our blending stumps. So again, for certain artworks, you might be able to use your fingers to blend, and that's just fine. But for our project, we want to try and stay in this habit, because all of a sudden we'll start to get fingerprints in spots that become very hard to erase. All right, so my goal, going dark to light, the lightest part being the white of the paper in the center. If that spot's too dark, so instead of erasing, I'm just trying to spread it around a little bit. All right, I think I'm pretty happy with that. I could get darker towards the edges a little bit, so I could continue to add more there, and then I'm going to erase around my value scale so that I'm practicing nice craftsmanship. Right, if I can do this here, I can do it on my final project very well too. This is why I like having different types of erasers. So if you want to add that to your art kit and you have them at home, that'd be really helpful for you. Now I'm trying to avoid setting my fingers on my actual value scale. I'm using the empty space around it. And there we have a value scale that goes dark to light to dark again. I hope you have fun with it.